If you're not happy with your current out-of-date or undesirable patterned foldable wall, one idea I have, instead of buying a new one, is to just turn it into a weathered barn board looking wall. You can use this wood. This comes pre-packaged, different variations of color on the wood, and this looks like it's weathered wood, reversible, weathered hardwood, and made by Weber. These are about $35. You can get them at Home Depot or eBay, etc. And so for this, I'm just going to simply install these panel boards over this pattern and turn this into a more desirable, more aesthetically pleasing stand-up separator wall in my living room. I think we'll be happy with it, so let's get started. What we're going to do is simply glue each of these boards. We notice that we have some, in this case these are wood, yours might be plastic, whatever variation of binding or separation for reinforcement on the panels you have, certainly use that. You know, wood glue is going to work perfect with this. I'm not going to get too technical. It's not something I want to start drilling into because these are very thin, they'll crack. So I think we'll just wood glue and clamp, because as you can tell, a lot of these boards are going to be somewhat curved, and we'll use the clamping for that. First thing we'll do is get the wood glue out. I'm going to use Type Bond. It's what I use for acoustic and some electric wood repairs that I do, guitars that is. This should work perfect. So let's give it a shot. I'm going to edge a bit of glue on the top that I line up for this, and then I'll just line some glue on each of these, lay the wood down, and then I'll use some clamps to straighten it, because it will have bowing in this case. Don't need much. All right, as you can see, we've got glue on each of these small rails, which are wooden. That's going to soak in pretty well to this piece. We should be fine with that. Just layer on. We could go a little crazy with the wood and actually edge this side, but I don't think we're too worried about that. This is going to be just fine. We didn't need wood down at the end, but we're going to clamp this down. I'm going to use these fairly inexpensive plastic clamps. They're strong enough. I'm going to bring that up to the edge. That. A couple more clamps. Some larger ones here. That way we get in the middle of the wood a little further in. Clamps it down closer to both edges. Let's replace this one too. All right, so we've now glued these down. I did have to use my clamps to secure some of the crazy gluing that had to take place between some of these cracks. And the flimsiness of this unit itself, but we're in good shape on these, and what we'll do next is glue the rest to then sit overnight, and then we'll come down here, since these aren't long enough, and we'll match the extra pieces I have with the different shades of wood up here, and we'll measure them and cut them to length and fill in these areas. Then we'll be done. Well, I had an issue with the glue due to the, I guess, fragility and potentially the lack of it being very porous. These wooden rails didn't glue very well to the surface of these boards. So what I'm doing is I'm going behind them and I'm embedding tiny screws into the areas that will hold the boards in place. With the backboard here, the bigger one on the edge, I use a large screw because it's a much thicker place. And as you can see, in a lot of the areas, I've just used smaller screws. I've used a drill to go through halfway, create that hole, and then of course it is now sticking very, very tight. So I have no issues there. When I went to fold this, it also cracked the glue. This whole unit came apart, as you can see. So I'll be using screws on those as well. So I thought I'd give you an update. Again, this particular panel may be similar to the ones you have. I think it's a fairly cheap one. We're even getting disconnections here on the hinges. So we'll see how this works. This is quite heavy when it's finished, so I'll keep you posted and we'll keep you updated. Just wanted to show you real quick how I'm placing the screws on the back of these. As I've shown before I put these shorter pieces in. These are very thin pieces of wood, and so I have been using very small but longer Phillips head screws that I got. So what I do is I turn this over and I find the places that I can screw into the back of these small boards, at least two of them that I hold it in. And I'll do that throughout, and that will hold these in place at the bottom. All right, I've managed to get all of the long boards screwed in from behind. I've made roughly 20-inch boards matching the same colors as the long ones to fill the rest of this. And then I'll be done with this. This is actually folded over quite a bit. The weight of this is obviously a bit much for these hinges, so I'm going to be careful as I move it. But right now, we're very close to being finished. I'll show you the finished product once I'm done. Well, this is the final result. I think it looks pretty good. You can see the smaller pieces at the bottom we had to put in. The back of this isn't pretty, but irrelevant because we're not looking at the back. There it is. Hope this helps. Good luck.